Hey guys, it's Ryan, and today I'm going to be talking about another conspiracy theory. I first looked into this theory maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and it's a really special one to me because it's really the first theory I was really passionate about and was really fascinated in. In junior year of high school, I actually made a speech about this in my public speaking class, and my whole class was so fascinated by it, they were so blown away that I thought I had to share it with you guys too. The theory revolves around Paul McCartney, one of the only 2 Beatles that are still alive. Or is he? The theory states that Paul McCartney actually died in 1966 in a car crash, and since then was replaced by a double. Yeah. Apparently, since 1966, the Paul McCartney we know and love was always just a double impersonating him. Some say the government planned the whole thing to prevent mass suicide, as Paul McCartney was a huge influence to millions of people at that time. Some people also say it was done to prevent the Beatles from breaking up, as their music brought in so much money that a death from one of the members could result in a breakup and cost the record company millions. No matter what the intention, many people believe this theory to be true, mainly due to the fact that the Beatles left tons of hints in their album covers and songs after he supposedly died. Today, I'm going to be giving you the creepiest examples. I'm going to start off with some subliminal messages that they left in their songs, and just to warn you, it's pretty creepy. The first example comes from the Beatles song I'm So Tired. This is sung at the end. Okay, so that doesn't sound like anything, right? Just a bunch of gibberish, right? However, if you reverse it, Paul is a dead man. Miss him, miss him, miss him. Also, if you reverse the end of the song Revolution 9, which is usually
Number 9, number 9, number 9.
It now says
Another
more subtle example comes from the song A Day in the Life. Listen.
I read the news today, oh boy, about a lucky man who made the grade. He blew his mind out in a car. A crowd of people stood and stared. They'd seen his face before.
So it talks about a lucky man who made the grade, just like Paul did with his success of the Beatles. Then it says he died in a car crash, and a crowd of people stood and stared because they'd seen his face before. That's pretty spot on with the whole theory of him dying in 1966 in a car crash. Now I'm going to show you a couple of clues from their album covers. The first example comes from the Beatles album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. When you look at the bass drum in the center of the album, it simply says Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band. However, if you look at the image mirrored, the Lonely Hearts turns into I1IX, he die. When looking at the first parts as numbers, it reads 11-9, he die. Paul supposedly died in 1966 on November 9th, or 11-9. Also, if you look at the Beatles on the left, they look very sad, as if they're looking at a grave. Paul's grave, perhaps? And when you look at the yellow flowers at the bottom, it's shaped as a left-handed bass guitar with only 3 sticks instead of 4. Paul is left-handed, and if Paul were dead, there would only be 3 original Beatles left instead of 4. Is this just a coincidence? More clues come from arguably the most iconic Beatles album of all time, Abbey Road. First, if you look at each of the Beatles, they are said to be symbolically representing a funeral ceremony based on what each of them are wearing. John is said to be the clergy, as he is wearing white. Ringo is said to be the pale bearer, as he is wearing black. George is said to be the gravedigger, as he is dressed in work clothes. And lastly, Paul is said to be the corpse, as his eyes are closed, he's barefoot, and he's holding a cigarette. A slang word for a cigarette is a coffin nail. He is also holding it in his right hand, even though he's left-handed. If that's not enough, if you look in the car in the background's license plate, it reads 28IF, or 28 if. If Paul McCartney were still alive, he would have been 28 when the album was released. Another clue that Paul might be a double is that he has a different eye color now than he used to. And when you overlay the face of the old Paul with the new Paul, it doesn't match up correctly. So those are just a couple of the many examples that the Beatles supposedly left behind after Paul died. As this theory has become very popular over the years, Paul McCartney himself actually talked about it on The Late Show in 2009. Check it out.
Toward the end of the 60s, is that when the rumors about you being dead surfaced? Do you remember that? Do you remember how that started? What were your feelings about that?
I mean, you know, I just laughed at it and knew it was just because of the fame and the craziness. It was a little bit strange because people did start looking at me like,
Right.
is it him or a very good double?
Well, that was the idea. That was the other part of it, that there was a guy who looked like you taking your place.
No, well, this is him.
Yeah.
Something about Paul looked really nervous when he talked about it. Like, is that really Paul McCartney, or is he a double who's trying to debunk the theory that he's a double? Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this theory if you haven't heard about it yet. I personally don't know if I believe it or not. It seems pretty far-fetched, but it is also possible, because like anything's possible. It is likely that the Beatles just put the clues in their albums and their songs just for fun and maybe to sell more records. That's probably it. Or is it? Also, if you want to read more about this theory, there's so much more information out there. You can go to turnmeondeadman.com. I didn't find out about this theory from them, but it helped a lot in the research, so definitely shout out to them. Go check them out. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you want to see more conspiracy videos in the future, make sure to press like below so I know, and subscribe for future videos. You know, if this fake Paul McCartney, or Fall as people call him, actually wrote Hey Jude, Let It Be, and Maybe I'm Amazed, I may like this new Paul McCartney better.